Yeah, kodo Melissa do Tom. Tachehi chili do. Adam hilta ho leta. Says hello. My name is Tony Skrelunas. I was just making fun of Tom and Melissa and telling them they didn't tell us we were going to get into a sweat house here. uh, I'm joking. It's nice and cool. Yeah, this is the work we do. I'm from a community called Big Mountain. This is where the mining's happening. And we grew up there. I was raised by my great grandparents. What we're doing here is we're working with 10 tribes on the Colorado Plateau. The Colorado Plateau is one of the most diverse ecoregions in the world. It's one of the diverse culturally, environmentally, natural resources, plants, cultures from the eons of time to now. So that's the Colorado Plateau. And we have a project called Colorado Plateau Intertribal Conversations. Let's go to the next slide. We started this in 2009, and what the tribes talked about was that a long time ago, tribes used to come together. There's the mountain tribes, the desert tribes, the ocean tribes, the canyon tribes, and they would come together and trade. They would come together not only trade, but to create solutions too. And that's how our stories grew, that's how our religions grew, but there was a lot of relationship of monitoring the land, of farming techniques, of different medicines, different types of remedies, different architectural styles. This was there was a big process, and what our elders wanted to do was recreate some of that. So that's why we started this process called Intertribal Conversations, and there's our logo down below. Let's go to the next slide. One of the things that the tribes have a lot of confidence, and one of the things that they always tell us is that, in our traditional way, a lot of our textbooks don't like to give us the history of what the tribes were able to accomplish here in North and South America. That we had over 100 million people here at one time. That's really a conservative estimate now, finally. That we had a very sustainable societies. We had a lot of traditional science. I know we don't like that word, but we had art, research and development, farming. We have found places where there was thousands of years of places where people used to work on different techniques of farming techniques and cultivation. There was whole types of planting of flowers, of fruits, of vegetables, of produce. And with that, the North and South America, we were able to create 70% of the world's foods. And so there's a big confidence factor. And you don't just haphazardly cultivate food. It takes a lot of work. There were 200 plants for medicine. And again, the same thing. We still have a lot of these medicines that our medicine men haven't shared, with the modern medicine, just because a lot of that has been misused. We have governance. A lot of younger people, I don't know if you know that our three-system setup of government, checks and balances, separation of powers, representative government, where you have a group of people and they have a representative that sits at the table and makes decisions on your behalf. That governance was really something that the tribes had really developed to an advanced degree, and that's what the early framers of the U.S. government, they copied that system. So that again, some of that is in the history book. But one of the things that we really need to look at is the happy, long life in that they design in tribal life. We still use that in our ceremonies. We have Kenelche is a wintertime ceremony where we have 102 yucca that we use in our games. We in our songs we say that means may I reach the old stage of my life where my hair is white and I have built an outstanding legacy with my family and my community and everything. So that's happiness, that we call that ultimate happiness. So those are the things that had been incorporated. That type of thought had been incorporated into everything, into architecture, into lifeway, into homestead, into village, into ceremony, into how we built our economies, how we built our lives. Let's go to the next slide. Our tribes, when they came together, we picked the tribal representatives to this the old way too. A lot of it is, as I'm an academic, I'm educated, and the easy way is let's go pick the tribal leaders, right? Let's go pick so and so. They're the chairman of that tribe, that chairman. Our elders didn't want to do it that way. They said, if we're going to really replicate traditional process, let's do it the old way. So we had to go find the storytellers, the master farmers, the sheep herders, the singers, the people that are in charge of the song, the people that are in charge of the dances. We got people that put on the bear dance. We have people that write the songs for certain ceremonies in their tribes, and those are the ones that were selected. But we also looked at something else. Were they sharing their knowledge, their story back with their community? Were they a tribal citizen that's something that would have been strong a long time ago? And even how we come together, it's an easy solution for me to say, well, we should have a chairman, we should have a vice chairman, we should have Robert's Rules of Order when all these tribes come together. That's an easy solution. But they said, no, we got to keep it tribal. We can't have one chair. We have to have rotating chair. We have to meet at different tribal lands. The tribes themselves, we have to incorporate elders. We have to incorporate ceremony. We have to incorporate different tribal elements. Every time we come together, we have to do offerings. We have to visit sacred springs. We get us out of the meeting room, get us out into the land, and that's how we need to have these discussions. So that's what we did. But here's our 4 focus areas, and this is we have really pursued these areas: water, the need to strengthen our tribal people's relationship with water. This is really big. It's really important that our tribal leaders, our tribal, the folks, anybody that represents our water needs to have an understanding, needs to have a foundation of water, traditional water knowledge. And what is that? That's the prayers, that's the ceremonies, it's the name of the springs, that's actually working, getting your hands dirty and preparing the springs, working with water and knowing the proper offerings and knowing the proper philosophy, the proper values of water. So that's really important. Health was a big part too, is that we really need to revitalize our food systems, the health of our communities. Why are we having these high rates of diabetes, of obesity? What is going on with our tribal communities when we, a long time ago, had a lot of centenarians? It was common. My grandpa, my mom's father, is now 97 years old. He's still very healthy. But the thing there is he's still very slim. He's very cultural. He's very positive. He herded sheep almost 6 miles most days of his life. That's a simple thing. But we have gotten out of that, and our elders are really concerned about that. So that's a big part of our work. We're supporting everything from farmers markets to runs and we have a big community wellness project that's starting to come together among a lot of these tribal organizations. Language and culture, again, we can't. If we can't have a tie with the land, we can't have a tie with the trees, with the waters, with the air, if we don't have our language and culture. And this is something that was developed over thousands of years, and it's so descriptive. It's so important to have that relationship. And so that's a big part of our work, is supporting kids relearning the old terminology about everything from plants to farming to dances. So that's a lot of the work that we're doing. Sacred sites is big too, and there's a whole set of sacred sites, from the things that we use in our ceremonies, the way we all the way to the ancients and the people that have lived here, the sacred elements, and the need to protect them and find the best tools that are out there to protect those. Let's go to the next one. So what has resulted out of this process that just tribes just come together and kind of philosophize and we didn't want to. Our tribes couldn't stand for that. They told me, let's not just meet and let's actually do some stuff. So we were able to pull together, with thanks to Christensen, to Packard, other foundations, some dollars to finance about 14 to 15 projects out in the communities, and actually find the folks that are doing these things, find the folks that are actually restoring the springs, find the folks that are actually teaching the kids about the old farming techniques. So we were able to do that, and that really resulted in a lot of progress among the tribal communities. We funded work in 10 different tribal communities. We've done a lot of work to protect the sacred sites. We're fighting the ongoing battle with the tribes to fight the uranium mining around Grand Canyon, to protect Red Butte, to restore springs around the villages. We are fighting a battle right now to stop a crazy tramway development into the Grand Canyon, into right next to where the Hopi considered a place of emergence, where the male and the female, the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River, where they come together. It's one of the most sacred areas to our medicine leaders. And there's a development that's proposed in there, and we're really in the front lines of working with those families to fight that. So that there's a whole bunch of work on sacred sites. Climate change mitigation is a big part of our work. Again, partnership with organizations like Black Mesa Water Coalition, Tolani Lake Enterprises, many other organizations trying to keep our food resiliency, keep our farming traditions alive, and figuring out how we can do it on the ground. We have one of the things that came up with our group of tribes is that some of these tribes have only a few elders left, and a lot of they're really concerned that knowledge transfer of that old knowledge, of the thing that has ensured our sustainable survival for like 15,000 years is going to be lost. And so they've asked us to start recording those now. So we have a team that's trying to capture as much as they can. We do a lot of work with social entrepreneurship. Communities need to, there has to be an incentive for people to, like Black Mesa Water Coalition is doing, to have sheep and still take care of the land and herd sheep. There has to be incentives for people to farm, to keep the knowledge of the old food making traditions. That affects health, but that also affects food resiliency. So that's a big part of our work in doing farmers markets. We ran our first farmers market all summer this summer we have some pictures there at the end, but it's really been successful. How much? Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, we're working with ranchers. We were able to help establish a ranch of 40 families. We call it 14R. Ranch, and we raise the ranchers. They raise premium beef, and but they monitor the land the old way, using the knowledge of these are the certain grasses, and here's when we have to let the land rest. We also monitor every raindrop of rain, and also out of that we run the cattle at half carrying capacity. That's a requirement. That ranch has finally secured customers and is making money, and so we're showcasing that you can do development and actually protect the land. So, but really the future of our work, the way we see it, is that there's a real interest in culturally driven protection. That means, how do we protect land within our tribal communities? What are the ways to find ways to keep the coal in the ground, find ways to protect big areas of land from more economic development? And then how do we do development that fits with the culture? And luckily, in some of our tribes, they have said no to big shopping centers. They have said no to big resorts. So they want something better. And that's a lot of our work through this is, what is the better thing? The work on the farmers markets, renewable energy companies, even this 14R, we presented that work to other tribes, and I've actually sat with their economic development heads of other tribes, and the tribal people would be sitting here, and they said, we want what those guys are doing over there. That's what you guys should be doing. And the development heads always said, but that doesn't make money. That's that's not going to make us money. We can't put solar on the cultural center. We can't do farmers markets. And here are the cultural people, and that's what social entrepreneurship is. Is not everything has to be about making money. There's also making the culture survive, making that traditional knowledge continue, making your people happy again. And that is the what social entrepreneurship is about, and that's what I think we can contribute. So yeah.
Thank you, Joe.